All right, so here we are. We're going to talk about one of my favorite abstract strategy games of all time. And unfortunately, this is no longer available. You may be able to find a used copy of this, on eBay or somewhere online, but unfortunately, it's not available. I happen to be friends on Facebook with Buzz Seiler, who was one of the designers of this game. And, he told me many years ago that it's very expensive to make and that abstract strategy games are not as popular as, family games and et cetera, board games. So, he even said in an email he wrote to me that eventually the game would disappear. This was many years ago. I did talk to him again a few years ago, and he said I think his son-in-law was working on an app for Terrace, but I haven't seen anything. And I really wish this game would come back. I think if it went up on Kickstarter or something, it would most likely fund. It's a very cool abstract strategy game. But it was in my top 10 list of abstract strategy games. You can go back and look at that list on the channel here. But I received a request to talk a little more about it, so here we are, and I'd love to talk about it because it's a great game. Isn't it gorgeous? I mean, let's be honest. Look at these green pieces, right? It's a gorgeous game. Here's the back of the box. This is when it was, featured on Star Trek, so they came out with this version of it with the Star Trek symbol and all that. And basically tells you how to play here, but I'll go over it. And let's see what's inside the box here. I have the manual how to play, right? There's a long game, a short game. There's the cover. As you can see, this is an old copy. The short game, for instance, is set up like that, right? So you can set up a quicker game, and then here you have the regular longer game, and here you can even play with 4 people. How cool is that? I've done that a couple of times. But this is I'm going to show you a couple of different versions of Terrace that I have here. This is the 8x8. This is the original size. Actually, I think the black and white version, which I'll show you in a second, is the original. And then this came up when they went into Star Trek. And then they came out with the 6x6, which I have here as well, and I'll show you. So, gee, Alex, how do you play this gorgeous game? Well, you have these T pieces here, right? That's your important piece. So it goes on the bottom there, and the opponent's T piece goes on the bottom over there. And the objective of the game, actually, there's 2 ways to win. You either capture your opponent's T piece. If we capture it, we win. Or if we get our T piece all the way over there into that square. Or they get theirs into our square over here. So 2 winning conditions. And there's some movement rules, so let's go over that pretty quick. Like, let's say if it's your turn, you can move 1 space, right, on the same level here, or you can move as many spaces as you want, as long as you're on the same level. Even if you have a piece of yours here, I could still make this move. I could go right through my piece. I could not do that if my opponent's piece was there. Then I'd be stuck there. I cannot go over my opponent's piece on the same level. Now, you can move up, straight up like that, or diagonally. Okay, that's moving up a step. But to come down, you can only come down straight. Okay, because the diagonals are reserved for capturing. Oh, yes, we capture in this game, as you probably already guessed. And how do you capture? Well, if there's a piece of the same size, right, in a diagonal position like that, one level low, I can go ahead and capture it. Isn't that cool? Now, if there's a bigger piece, like this, I cannot capture it because it's too big. Okay? And there's no capturing going up. The only way you can capture in Terrace is by going down a level diagonally. That's it. So in this case, I could not take that green piece because it's too big. It has to be the same size or smaller in a diagonal. If the piece was there, it's safe. I can't attack it because I can only eat a piece down diagonally. And it says that right here. As you can see there, right? So that's how you move up. You can move up straight or diagonally. See, there's another example of how to move up. And moving down diagonally is a capture, or you can move straight down, and you're not allowed to capture straight down. All right, so those are the capturing rules and sort of movement rules. Pretty simple, right? It's pretty simple. There is cannibalism in this game. So, for instance, that piece there is a big piece. It's on an upper level, right? Because we have that square that's on an upper level. I can begin my turn by capturing that small piece there and going there. Okay. I have done that before. There's a particular strategy you could use that becomes it comes in handy because you get rid of these little pieces and you start moving your big piece right away. So there is cannibalism, but the same rules apply. You can only capture diagonally down. Okay. So the game will begin, a player will move here, another one will move here, this one will move there. You can go up here, because that one can't eat that one because it's too small, right? Has to be same size or bigger to capture. And you just, pretty soon the board looks pretty cool, right? There's no capturing here because they're both on the same level. And then maybe this guy will go down here, and we would go up here. So the board will look, it's pretty cool. I remember many years ago, my daughter was taking a class after school, when she was little. And I used to take her to this class, and then I would sit at the restaurant bar across the street, and I would play Terrace with a friend of mine, and people would always kind of, because it looks so cool. And by the way, this game, for the past, 20 plus years, it's always out, right? Like a gorgeous chess set. Terrace is always out in my house, so people always see it. It's always set up. I don't always play it, but it's always there, and it's very cool. I love it. So that's the like I showed you earlier, the original. There's the box. Let me show you the other color pieces, right? Because you can play this like I showed you earlier. You can. There, you got the blue. Look how cool those colors are, right? Blue and purple pieces, right? If you wanted to play the short game, or a 3-player game, or a 4-player game, right? Because again, the 3-player is the 3 or 4-player game is set up like that. There's the regular game, and here's the short game. You set the pieces up that way. What's interesting here is that the little piece is not in the bottom, right? Because as you can see on this board, our T piece is all the way down here, but in the short game, the T piece is up here, right? I do enjoy playing the short game for this. But and I have played the 3-player, the 4-player as well. They're fun, but I love the original setup. That's like my favorite setup on this board. Okay, but I have played the short game, but it's just too many, not enough pieces, right? Because in the short game you have this situation here, so the board just looks so large. You have this. I think you have these two mediums. Oops, sorry. These a medium one, and how does that go? Oh, I forgot. I think it's a large. Goes a large. I'm actually looking at the board here. Yeah, it's a large, two mediums, two medium smalls, and then the T piece, right? So that's all you have on a short game, right? So you look at this huge board, and that's the short game. You'd begin that way. Same rules. That T piece has to get to that bottom corner there, and their T piece has to get to this bottom here. So it is a quicker game. It's fun, but I love the additional colors. And by the way, you only get enough to play the short game or the multiplayer version, right? With these two colors. But so cool. Let me show you now another set of Terrace that I have here. This is gigantic. I'm not sure I'll be able to. Look at this. This is the black and white version. God, I can't even show it to you. It's so large. There it is, Terrace. This board is just huge. Let me see if I can put it down here. This was an early version, I guess, of this game. Came with this promotional stuff, and back then they used to have the Terrace times. There were some tournaments and things that you could. They really tried to push this game and make it fun. Some variants there. So it used to come with this. This board, as you can see, is much bigger than that. Look at that. It's still an 8x8, but it's just larger, right? And you have the pieces. The pieces are larger too. Like here's the large piece compared to the large piece of the original, right? So the pieces are bigger, and they come in these colors. Black, white. You would set up the game with the black and white, and then as the option for the short game, you would have the red and the blue, right? The short or multiplayer game. So that's the huge version of Terrace. They're advertising both, right? The huge one, the big one, and then the Star Trek version they came out with. But there's the cover. I mean, and that's how it looks set up, right? It's pretty cool, the black and white. I do like this one though. I like these colors. Now, my favorite Terrace release is the 6x6. This is the 6x6. How cool is this, right? You get right into the action because here you have a lot of space, so you start moving your pieces. It takes a moment to start engaging your opponent, and with the 6x6 version, man, you get right into it because the board is smaller. Let me see if I can move this out of the way here. All right. Yeah, there it is. It's really, really cool. My favorite. I had another copy of it, but this version here is even harder to find than the original. I don't think you can find it at all. I had another version of it. I barely used this one, and I sent it to a friend of mine who loves abstract strategy games. So yeah, it comes with this stuff here in different languages, right? There it is in Japanese. So they used to send the game out with these, which is very cool. For the 6x6, you have the colors of the big Terrace, right? Which is the black and white pieces, and then you have the fewer red and blue pieces. So I don't. This was a set that's new. I've never used it. I just I think last year or two I sent the other version I had, the other copy of this I had to a friend of mine who just loves abstract strategy games, like I said. And there's the board. It's the same. It's made of the same thing, but it's a 6x6 board. So you set it up, and right away you get into the action. Right? Let me see if I can show you. There it is, right? So here's the short game for the 6x6. You only use 4 pieces. That's it. And here's the long game, the regular game. But again, you see how close you are? As soon as you start moving your pieces, you get right into the action. And there's the 3 or 4 player. And in this case here, it's set up as a 4-player game. So yeah, the 6x6 is my favorite. There it is. My favorite version of Terrace. Here it is again. But I love the original. And I love playing it. It's awesome. Here it is. Partially destroyed, because I've been moving things around, so I got pieces everywhere now. But that's it. There you go. The cover. Where is it? I think it's over here. Let me flash it again. Oh. It's too much cardboard, too much stuff. There it is, my beat-up box of Terrace. This is a very cool game. The future of strategy games, it says there, but unfortunately, Terrace didn't make it into the future. Now, it may still make it into the future. Like I said, I think if somebody were to kickstart this, I think it'd be funded. It's a wonderful game. It's an easy game to learn, a very competitive game to play, and I've loved this game for decades. Terrace. There it is. I wanted to talk about it. Somebody suggested I talk about it, and there you have it. One of my favorite abstract strategy games ever. Wow, Terrace, wonderful.